Hello, everybody. This is Amanda Cooper with Cola Daily, and in the studio with me today, we have a new 2024 Experience Columbia Ambassador, Mr. Crush Rush, also known as Marion Crush Rush.
That's correct.
Just welcome, I should say that, to Cola Daily. I follow you on social media. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a stalker. I love your Instagram page.
Thank you.
And it's such a pleasure to meet you, more so than anything, because not only are you an ambassador, you're from here. You didn't come here. You're from here.
That's right.
So Columbia means something a little extra special to you.
Absolutely. Columbia means the world to me. I love it here.
So when you found out that you had been selected to be the 2024 Experience Columbia Ambassadors, what did that feel like?
So, funny enough, you know, it's been an ongoing process. I'm being on this side of the camera as a photographer is always weird to me. So I'm like, all of that. But, you know, like, it's a great opportunity to really represent for Columbia, to really show off more of what I'm already showcasing with, you know, my photography and the connections here in the city. It's just something that's great. You know, the other ambassadors, I already know them, friends, you know, also work relationships, you know, organizational relationships. So it's like, yeah, this is beautiful. This feels right. This feels right. These are my people, and I'm with my people, showing off my city.
I love it. You know, I always tell people you got to find your tribe.
That's right.
It seems like you have found your tribe with these three ambassadors. Mm-hmm. You know, I have to admit, I kind of wanted to when I read about you being an ambassador. I'm like, he's kind of already been an unofficial ambassador for Columbia, you know, because you're so involved in the community, so the city, just wherever there's anything going on, you're there. You have photographed so many iconic moments throughout the city, especially during the pandemic with the civil uprising, which kind of, you branded yourself as a photojournalist at that time. One of my favorite pictures was when you took of West Columbia's dog.
Yes, Uncle Dog. Yes,
Uncle Dog.
Yes.
And for those who move to Columbia, you give them a front row seat to the city.
Right.
Not just the city of Columbia, but West Columbia, KC, the northeast side. I mean, just all over.
The greater Columbia.
The greater Columbia area. So let's just jump right into it. Now, one thing that I learned about you is that you have an excellent eye.
Thank you.
I was looking over an interview you did with Off Book with Richland Library, and you said that one of the hardest things is when you're good. Like, one of the things that you struggle is when you're good.
Right.
I didn't really understand that.
So it's like imposter syndrome is a thing. And then, like, you struggle once you get to a level of proficiency. Like, when you're starting out, let's say when you're starting out as a photographer, you think that every photo you take is just the greatest photo in the world. You're like, how does this photo only have 2 likes? Because this is the greatest thing that has ever been photographed in time. And then as you continue and you get better at your craft, you become hyper, like, focused on your photos. You're like, I could have did this better. This photo sucks. Then you go back and look at your old photos. You're like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I knew, you know, the stuff that you thought was the best, you start to, like, dissect it. So once you get to a level of proficiency, you start to become very, very analytical on your work. And that's really, really hard, because once you do that, like, imposter syndrome really sets in, where you're like, I don't really like my work. Everybody else loves my work, but I see a problem with literally everything that I shoot. And then that makes you feel kind of like, maybe I'm not worthy of this praise, or maybe I'm not worthy of this professional stalking on Instagram, you know, like, and so that's really a problem that I've thankfully been able to really tackle in therapy.
Wow.
Yes, wow. Absolutely.
So, you know, Crush, one thing that they say about geniuses is that they have that problem.
Look, I ain't no genius.
They never think their work is good enough, and they get caught up in it. All of the greatest go through that syndrome. So I think that it's kind of a blessing and a curse. One thing, the reason why I brought it up is because your work is obviously good. That's why you're here. It is through your lens that you have captured the greater Columbia area. And for those who are watching and getting to know you as this new ambassador, or old new ambassador, I should say, of Experience Columbia with the program, what kind of iconic pictures do you think that they would recognize as yours?
So, if they've been here for a while, the flood photos, the photos that I took when I was on assignment with Jim Cantor, absolutely. There's going to be the ones from the George Floyd protest with the young woman with the less lethal rifle, trained in her face at point blank range. That went crazy viral to the point that there is a Snopes article on it, and a fact or fiction article, which people were attributing that photo to multiple unrest all over. It was attributed to Portland, yes, overseas, and so there had to be a Snopes article because it had spread so much and was used so much for so many narratives saying that, hey, look, this was taken in Columbia, South Carolina on May 31st by, photojournalists, and here's the rundown of it. Some of those people that reached out to me from those organizations, I'm still friends with them to this day. It built friendships and Facebook communication. But those photos, of course, Dog West, Uncle Dog, Uncle Johnny's photos. There's that. There's photos, my iconic one over the Lake Murray, Candy Coated Sunset, which is just absolutely phenomenal sunset that I took. And a lot of my work from Able, South Carolina. I'm a member on the board of Able, South Carolina, and a lot of the work has been through the vaccination network and disability rights and all that stuff. So a lot of those photos are, people, hey, I know who took that photo. I know who that photographer is. So a lot of moments like that. It's just, I don't know. I've taken a lot of photos in my time. I've taken a lot of photos, yeah.
I'm sure you have. And when we talk about those iconic photos and all that you've done, how did you even get started? Because I'm sure this is not just something, some people, right. I know when I'm a hobbyist, I would say. I'm in new media, but my specialty is photojournalism. And I remember my moment. When was your moment?
So my moment is a little bit funny and sad simultaneously. So photography, my love for taking photos and the snapshots, taking photos of things in action, came from a video game. Right. So back
Which
when I was
video game?
Pokemon Snap, when I was a kid. Pokemon Snap. I borrowed this game from Blockbuster because I was way after my rent period by the time it went back. As a kid, we got the game. My aunt got it for me and my cousin. Played the game, fell in love with the game. The idea of getting graded on capturing these things in action and getting points for it. Then my great-grandmother went through dementia. So there was this obsession right along with it, watching somebody that you love that was sharp decline and forget. Then there was an obsession with not forgetting. And then two, back in that time, there were, cameras were expensive. You might have had your disposable cameras, but it was expensive to get the film developed, and all that. It was a whole process. But I didn't want people to forget. I didn't want me to forget. And if I had photos of the family members and the friends, it can help, who is this again? Yeah. This is what your uncle looked like. Yeah. The younger generation, a lot of younger generations, they just hear stories about their uncle that was hilarious. They never see them because there were no photos. Right. We couldn't, the families couldn't afford to get a photographer back then because it was so expensive. So now I'm kind of like my families, there's oral history. I'm like the photo history of the family. I'm not in none of the photos, but when it's all said and done, and when I'm old, I'm like, look, I took this photo, so I was there in spirit. So that's really kind of happened for me. The love for photography came from, a video game and then a loss, the loss. And so now, the obituaries of family members that have passed, it's always an honor to see the photo. I get emotional, to see the photo that I took as the one that they want to use to represent this person's life. I have friends. One of my best friends overdosed in her young 20s, and going to the viewing, and out of all the photos that was taken of her, this photo that I took was used to represent her existence on this planet. That's deep. And it will be there for eternity, for as long as that obituary exists. That will be the photo to represent this person's time on this planet.
Her legacy, her
right. And so it's moments like that just give the power. There was a gentleman by the name of Middle Passage that used to do a lot of work with NAACP. He passed away. And when they were showing off, it was a photo that I had took of him at a rally. And it's just it's one of those things that really hit you and it sucks at the same time, because you're like, man, I took that photo, that person's no longer here. But at the same time, it's like, I took that photo, and this is the photo. Out of all the photos that we take nowadays, this is the photo that represents that person.
You know, recently I met one of your people that you admire. He came to the studio to speak with Tony.
Yes.
Cecil
Williams.
Cecil
yes,
Williams, very
absolutely.
lovely man.
Absolutely.
You remind me of a younger version of him.
I've heard that.
Yes.
And that is an
and
extreme
explain to
compliment.
people who are not from Columbia, not from this
Right.
area, who he is.
So Cecil Williams is a photojournalist extraordinaire. He was very, very massive during the civil rights era here in Columbia, Orangeburg, the Orangeburg Massacre. He has a museum full of his own work that he constructed himself because he felt that strongly about these things being shown and remembered. Funny enough, when I photographed the Million Man March in 2020, I intentionally photographed that in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an ode to Cecil. And when I went back and looked at the photos, and when Historic Columbia interviewed us both, you look at those photos and you realize that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Because some of these roads looked identical, except the signs might have been different because there's a new business here. The people and the expression looked almost identical. Some of the actual picket signs looked identical. You know, so it's an ode to, you know, Cecil's phenomenal. I actually was up at the museum last year at the end of the year.
And tell them what the museum is.
Orangeburg. It's in Orangeburg. They're relocating it now. I think it's going to be on campus, South Carolina State campus. Right. Coming up. But it's in Orangeburg, and we took some students up there with USC, and they were just all like just dumbfounded. They were just like, "Wait a minute, y'all know each other? Y'all look cool," because we were like off to the side laughing and taking photos and all that. So, you know, it's life. Moments like that, meeting people like that, and having that is what makes. I'm getting emotional in here. Wow, like, you know,
it's the cola effect.
Right, it's the cola effect. It's the cola effect. But you know, just like moments like that make it so important.
Wow. You know, one thing that I read about you that touched me, and then, like I said, as a person who understands the journey of photojournalism and how impactful it changes the narrative and you can't erase it.
You're right.
It says here, Crush is an African American artist who constantly is striving to uplift his community through arts, education, and fact-driven dialogue.
Fact-driven dialogue.
That part right there,
Absolutely.
Those three words.
Absolutely.
Fact-driven dialogue.
Fact-driven dialogue.
And when we talk about what you capture through your lens, I don't think people understand the power of photography.
That's right.
And the images that you've captured about the greater Columbia, you've captured our beautiful moments. But you've also captured our unpleasant moments.
That's correct. Unpleasant is a great way to put that. Unpleasant moments.
Our less favorable moments. And I think that is the beauty of the whole idea of the concept of Experience Columbia.
That's right.
And as an ambassador, I think that you are perfect for this role.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
What does 2024 look like for? Excuse me, I'm gonna have to use your daddy's name for Marion Crush Rush.
So 2024. You know, I'm all about, like, this year. My keyword is growth. So like, when I say my keyword, this is something that I want to apply to every facet of my life. I want to grow mentally. I want to grow physically. I want to grow romantically. I want to grow financially. Growth is the key word to, like, this era, 2024 era of my life. That's what I'm looking for, seeking. And like, when I think about the word and thinking about what I want, it's easy to really kind of like figure out how I'm going to navigate. I'm going to move in a way that allows me to grow. You know, I have to water, like all the plants that we have in here, I have to water myself to grow. So if you're intentional about your watering schedule, you're intentional about feeling that sunlight, then you will grow. And so that is my, I'm growing to 2024. How
will you use this platform as an Experience Columbia ambassador to grow?
So first of all, you know, business, this is essentially, I would say, free advertisement as me as a photographer. So that's kind of all taken care of. But you know, a lot of people know me, and there's a lot of people who think they know me. You know, and those are two different things.
Right.
Because people who think they know you might have a preconceived notion about how you should act or how they think that you should act. And I hope that this really kind of gives let people know that, hey, look, Crush is all about that fact-driven dialogue.
Yes.
He's all about having fun, but he's also serious.
Yeah.
You know, he also cares. He, he might be cutting up on Facebook, but he's not cutting up when it's time to do business or like help people out or make sure that we know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, that's really kind of, I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful for the life that I have fought tooth and nail to make. And I just wanted to grow. Wow. And I just, this platform, I think a lot of people know me by now. A lot of people know Crush, whatever. They know my work. But, for those that don't, that might be those little pockets. Columbia, everybody knows each other, but like nobody knows each other at the same time. You meet somebody, you be like, hey, you know what so-and-so? You hang with so-and-so all the time? But I hang with so-and-so. And then you start seeing that person everywhere. Yeah. So, like, I'm trying to reach those people that might know me but have never seen me. Yeah. But then we start seeing each other everywhere.
See, I think this is going to happen with us.
Absolutely.
Like I said, now I can stop stalking you on Instagram, and now I can follow you on Instagram.
I'm going to, look, another goal for 2024, I'm going to be more consistent with my Instagram. I know everybody's been like, Crush, you take a lot of photos, you only post to your Instagram here and there. And they were like, look, you need to be more on your Instagram. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I will do that.
Thank you very much for all those grammars.
Absolutely.
And I guess my last question for you is, as a experienced Columbia ambassador, how you've seen Columbia grow over the last several years.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about where we're currently at and the exponential growth that's leading us towards the future?
How much time do we? No. So I love Columbia. I love everything that we're doing. Asterisk. I think that we need to be intentional about retaining the personality that is Columbia. What happened is when you look at
what is Columbia's personality before
okay, so we are history oriented. We are now, thanks to the efforts of Steve Benjamin, former mayor, being intentional about being arts. You got Lee Snellgrove at One Columbia, art oriented and culture oriented. And I think what happens is, as Columbia grows, the price to be in Columbia and to live in Columbia grows as well. And then that affects the outer skirts of Columbia, the West Columbia and Casey area. And so as that continues to happen, a lot of our arts, culture, and people who are historical parts of our communities will be unfortunately priced out of this region. And so you look at some of the other cities like Greenville. Greenville is beautiful. But outside of the little arts district, Greenville's personality is Greenville. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, you go to Greenville when you want to go to Greenville.
Right.
When you want to see a lot of stuff. When you want to have a lot of options and spend your money. But it feels just like a big city that just has a little strip, nice things to look at. And I hope that Columbia doesn't fall victim to that with our rapid growth.
Well, as experienced Columbia ambassador, what are things that you like about Columbia that you would encourage people, because you can't control certain elements.
You can't control certain elements.
There's like a character and an energy about the city. What do you love about that? And what would you encourage others to come and visit here? Give me your top 5.
Sure. Columbia Museum of Art. Love it. Love art, obviously. Our green spaces. Okay. The river walks, the canals. Get out, see it, experience it. Excuse me. Our rivers are phenomenal. We talk about the rivers, the river districts and all that. Get on and experience. Get on and experience our food. Right up from the street here, we have a delicious vegan spot for, that. Look, I was not eating vegan food.
You had a piece of soul.
I had a piece of soul, what I'm telling you. And then, funny enough, they ended up becoming one of my clients. And I go up there and I walk in, they know exactly what I want. So just experience the culture, like what I said. Yeah. Experience our history. We have phenomenal museums. Yeah. Like our museum is phenomenal. Our library system is all of our things that we have here have won awards. Yeah. Our museum has won awards. The art museum is one. Our library has won awards. Like everything that we have here The Nick has won awards. Like all
and
of
tell them what the Nick is.
The Nick is our independent movie theater that we have here down on Main Street. So everything that we have here, a part of history, culture, and food, has won awards.
Yeah.
Like,
we're an award-winning
We
city.
are an award-winning city. We are an award-winning city.
And we are the capital city.
And we are the capital
Put
city.
some respect on our name.
Put some respect on it. Put some respect on it. Look, and look, our teams are winning awards now. Like maybe the men's basketball team might get an award. Like the women's been getting awards, but so just things like that. Like we are an award-winning city. Like put that on the record. I'm gonna close that. Right. So things like that. Just get out and experience it. Seriously, experience Columbia SC. Look at that plug right there.
I love it. I love it.
Right.
Well, you know what, Crush? We are out of time, but I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I genuinely enjoy speaking with you. I'm motivated to really maybe be intentional about my growth in 2024 and following your footsteps of creating whatever I create, have it be fact-driven dialogue. Let it just that be my motive. I love that.
We are so important right now with the influx of AI.
Yeah.
So you take into consideration how important our role is, especially when we have some respect on our name. People come to me now, they send me stuff. They're like, hey, Crush, is this a real photo? Hey, Crush, is this a real story? And I'm like, it's not.
Wow.
And so we're only going to see more of that, especially in 2024 with an election coming up. There's going to be a lot of unfactual dialogue and unfactual photos with the birth of AI.
Real quick, as a photographer, and we talked about AI, super quick. How do you feel like photography is going to survive through the fourth industrial revolution, which is here now?
Right. So I think that Gen Z will be our knights in shining armor because they're already fed up. Like they are fed up. The things that we tend to get fed up on later in life, Gen Z is like, nah, we're not doing that. So I think that they will really be the ones to be like, hey, look, this is fake. They're already like putting a microscope to so many systems, and they are just not going to be consumers of the fakeness.
Right.
And so, a lot of people give Gen Z slack. They can't focus on anything, that's for sure. But the things that they can't.
His opinions are
right. Look, I love them. Look, I'm in a school, so look, they struggle with focusing attention. But the things that they do focus on intentionally cannot be unwavering. They will be the ones to save us all. I truly believe that.
Wow. Well,
once they get their focus. Well,
everybody, I have just like I said before, I've enjoyed speaking with you. I could talk to you all day. You're such a wonderful person.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on being a 2024 Experience Columbia Ambassador.
Thank you.
Now tell them where they can find you on social.
You can find me on everything. Instagram. I don't use Twitter much. Facebook, Crush Rush SC.
There you have it. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.